Human rights activists say the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency has quietly resumed its practice of deporting Mexican immigrants late at night. As BuzzFeed News reports, these late-night deportations violate a 2016 agreement the U.S. made with the Mexican government. John Stanton has been covering this story. John is a senior national correspondent for BuzzFeed News and joins me now from New Orleans. John, thanks for being with us. You wrote that human rights groups have objected to this practice of late-night deportations and secured an agreement that they would not continue. What is the main problem with them?
Yeah, so when they deport people late at night, there are not a lot of police around, and it puts these deportees in a lot of danger. Particularly, a lot of them don't speak English or don't speak Spanish. They've lived in the United States most of their lives. They're not from the towns they get deported to. And places like Nogales and Mexicali, Tijuana have very large cartel populations, and they've really kind of preyed on migrants and deportees over the last 10 or 15 years. There's kidnappings. People are kidnapped and turned, forced to become prostitutes. They're forced to go into the drug trade. They're just kidnapped for money from their families back at home. And it's a very, very dangerous practice that the U.S. finally in 2016 agreed to stop doing.
Right. And so it limited deportations, according to this agreement, to the hours between the hours of 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. So when did Customs and Border Patrol change this practice? And is it also ICE? It's both agencies involved?
Yeah, so ICE is in control of deportees prior to going to the border itself. And then once they get to the border, Border Patrol kind of takes over from there. And so it seems like it's a bit of a coordinated decision by the two agencies. And from what we've been told by folks at the Keno Border Initiative, a human rights organization that works on both sides of the border in Arizona and monitors sort of what's going on with Border Patrol and ICE, over the last 2 weeks, they've had deportations resume at 11, 11:30, midnight. And there are no Mexican officials to be there to even take them in. So they're just sort of shuttled across the border by U.S. Officials and left to fend for themselves if they get to the other side. And
I'm assuming, as a reporter, you've reached out to these agencies and asked, why are you bringing back these late-night deportations, and what response have you gotten?
Yep, we reached out to both agencies, and we haven't heard anything back from them. It's not totally surprising. Late-night deportations are something that they don't like to talk about. It has long been sort of a bit of a stain on the agencies, so they don't like talking about it that much.
But some are speculating, at least according to your article, that perhaps this is part of the Trump administration's policy of deterrent. Is that what your reporting is telling you?
Yeah, I think that the sense that a lot of human rights workers have is that, like some of the separation policies, keeping people that are going to be deported in what they call ice boxes, which is really cold detention centers, and this kind of thing are designed to make any kind of interaction with U.S. immigration officials as painful as possible so that the word gets out and people don't try to come.
Right. All right. So is there any legal recourse that can be taken at this point to push the U.S. government, to push these agencies to end late-night deportations once again?
That remains to be seen, to be honest. I think that one of the biggest problems is that the people that are directly affected by it are deported. And so once they get into Mexico, they don't really have any kind of standing. They don't have a way to file a lawsuit. The Mexican government could try to file a lawsuit, but courts have been hesitant to let them really get heavily involved in American immigration policy.
Has the Mexican government weighed in on this particular issue at all?
Not yet. If it does continue, I would presume they will, especially with the new government. I think that is something that has long concerned the Mexican government, this practice. And I think them getting rid of it in 2016, everyone thought that was the end of that, and it wasn't going to happen anymore.
All right, John Stanton of BuzzFeed News, thanks for shining a light on this area of the world. Thanks so much.